Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. We're quickly heading to the end of July. August is right around the corner, and with that, school and teaching and all that fun stuff is getting ready to get back into full swing. And my wife and I are kind of nervous because we have a kid going into high school this year, and we're not ready for that. But Henry actually is going to be going to school too, so we're entering a new time. So anyway, I hope you're having a good week, and I just wanted to share a little bit from Proverbs today. The last few weeks in our church, we've been studying the book of Proverbs and just seeing some of the teachings from the beginning chapters. And of course, we could spend the next 30 weeks doing Proverbs and just taking different things from it. And I thought, it would be good to share a few words from Proverbs, maybe in these on our Wednesday in the Words. And today I just came across this one in Proverbs 18, and I can't leave it. It's just speaking. Proverbs chapter 18. The thing about Proverbs is there's a lot of, if you try to read like a full chapter at once, you could get a lot of different little beep, 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 beep information. A lot of Proverbs are small, short. It's a little saying. And so some of them are grouped together, like as we've been seeing in our church services, but sometimes it's just a little thought. In Proverbs chapter 18, I just wanted to read verses 2 down through verse 7, or verse 8, excuse me. Proverbs 18, chapter 18, verse 2 says this: "A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion. When wickedness comes, contempt comes also, and with dishonor comes disgrace. The words of a man's mouth are deep waters. The fountain of wisdom is a bubbling brook. It is not good to be partial to the wicked, or to deprive the righteous of justice. A fool's lips walk into a fight, and his mouth invites a beating. A fool's mouth is his ruin, and his lips are a snare to his soul. The words of a whisperer are like delicious morsels. They go down into the inner parts of the body." As I read them, I don't know if you caught the main theme through there, and that is a foolish man's words, talking about our words, talking about our speech, our conversations. And of course, in 2020, our speech is not just the words coming out of our mouth. Our speech is also what we type, what we put in an email, what we put in a text, what we put in a post on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram, whatever the case may be. All of those are wrapped up into what we would consider our speech. And of course, our life is much more than just speech. Our life is our actions and our attitudes. But specifically, this is talking about our speech. And that first one, verse 2, "A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion." And that hit me dead between the eyes. That hit me right where it hurts. Because, to me, how many times am I only focused on just sharing my opinion? I just want to, I think this. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding. The opposite, because when we read these and we read about the fool, obviously the writer here is trying to tell us, don't be that person, but be the wise person. And so when you read this from a wise perspective, you read it like this: a wise person takes pleasure in understanding and doesn't only express his opinion. Can you imagine conversations where we took pleasure in trying to understand the other person, trying to understand where they're coming from, trying to help ourselves be in their position, instead of just expressing our opinion toward them, just expressing our thoughts of what they should do. It's amazing to me how through the years, how I've had conversations with people and I've shared something from my heart, and it wasn't necessarily in a way to get help in the sense of just pray. And it just seems interesting that sometimes people, their response to me shows that they don't really care about me. They just want to express their opinion on that said matter. And listen, the Bible says don't call anyone a fool. But as I'm leading, this is so important to me. And I'm not good at it. I find myself just expressing my opinion. And so I challenge myself to take this to heart. To take pleasure in understanding someone else and not just expressing my opinion on the matter. If you go down further, the verse 4 talks about how our words are deep waters, how they're deep, they show who we are, right? There's a lot of depth to what we say. And then in verse 6, this one's great too. A fool's lips walk into a fight, and his mouth invites a beating. I just think of, growing up. I grew up in the South, and we didn't call them spankings back then. We call it, you're getting a beating. You're getting a whooping. That's the Southern phrase. Okay, you probably said, "Hey, we're having a come to Jesus meeting," but a fool's mouth invites a beating. It's asking to be hit. And it walks into a fight. It walks into a fight, ready to fight. And then in verse 7, he says, this is the result of that. A fool's mouth is his ruin. His lips are a snare. The snare means a trap to his soul. God help us in our speech. God help us in our conversations, in our texts, in our emails, in our face-to-face conversations or mask-to-mask conversations. God help us in our social media conversations. Because if you took your last week and you look back on it and you were able to pull up on a computer or had written out everything you've said, everything you've written, everything you've posted, everything you've shared, if all of that was there for you to go through and look, where would you fit? Where would I fit? Am I just sharing my opinion? Am I walking into fights? Am I ruining my speech? What a challenge. That's Proverbs. That's what we love about Proverbs. It's so practical and right there. Can I challenge you that our conversations are important? And over in another verse in Proverbs, it talks about how a fit word or a good word is like an apple, like a golden apple, a golden honey. The words that are uplifting are sweet to the soul, sweet to the hearer, and sweet to us as well. I just want you to know that my wife and I are praying for you. We miss you, and we look forward to the next time we can be together. But take some time over the next few days and just grab a Proverbs. If you don't know which one to do, take the day of the month. So today is the 28th. So read Proverbs 28 today. Tomorrow, read Proverbs 29. The next day, read Proverbs 30. There's 31 Proverbs. So you could do that every single day of the month. And you could get a ton of information, a ton of wisdom, insights. And I'm not telling you have to memorize the whole thing, but just read a little bit. Just read maybe a couple of verses, meditate on them, because they're so good. I didn't even get to verse 21. 21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruits. There you go. Your speech, death and life are in your speech. And those who love it, love death, love life, will eat of those fruits. So which fruits are you demonstrating? Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you next week.